Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Forecasting Package Overview presented by ESS BIZTOOLS and Beyond Accounting Technologies. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS, and I'm now going to introduce you to the presenter of today's webinar, Paul Barnaby, the Managing Director of Beyond Accounting Technologies. How are you today, Paul?
I am nothing if a little cold, Peter.
And we're in Queensland.
in the Banana Bend estate, we're cold. It's unbelievable.
It's not just our reaction to you losing the football last night, is it? It is cold.
No, indeed. No, indeed. In fact, I was being quizzed on my knowledge of it, and I said I switched it off. I was that disgusted.
Okay, well, over to you. I think.
Okay. Many thanks, Peter. And yes, I'm pleased to produce or coordinate this introduction or overview of the financial forecasting package with a particular emphasis on predictive accounting. And as you will see up in the top corner of the slide, there is such a thing as a certified predictive accountant. And while you may question that, I will enlighten you. And if I haven't at the end of the session, then I'm sure there's time for questions, or you can email Peter or myself with any questions. So let's go. Now, why won't my slides advance, Peter?
Yeah, well, maybe I wasn't sure whether I'd...
There we go.
Yep.
I just have to use the slide advance rather than just the mouse by the look of it. So Peter's already introduced himself and myself. So I'll move straight on to the Academy of CPAs. Now, what does that stand for? It stands for not what you normally think CPA would stand for, but there's about 5 or 6 different meanings of CPAs in the world. There's CPAs here in Australia, there's CPAs in the US, and there's CPAs in the UK. That's 3 for a starter, and they all mean different things. They're all 3 professional bodies. Well, here comes another professional body. It's called the Academy of CPAs. And I'll just advance the slide. So what is this Academy of CPAs? It is a joint venture between Peter's company, that's ESS BIZTOOLS, which, as you will mostly know, provides systemization and tools and coaching for accountants. Beyond Accounting Technologies, which is my company, and PlanGuru, which is based in Pennsylvania in the USA. And by the way, there is an apology, Peter, from Trip Graham, the COO of PlanGuru, this morning. He was traveling today, but he did wish his apologies to be recorded.
Thank you.
So the first thing is the Academy is a joint venture, and it was out of the common interest that Peter, myself, and the PlanGuru company, Trip and Christian, the CEO, had in obviously the promotion of our various businesses, but none the least of it being the recognition that there was such a thing as predictive accounting, because the terms aren't used very frequently. So that was how the JV came to be put together. And as I said, I will expand on that a little more as I go. Secondly, the Academy exists as a qualification centre for predictive accountants, because we wanted some formality with the use of the word CPAs, obviously, for a starter. We didn't want criticism from those professional bodies. And the words certified predictive accountants, I'm pleased to tell you, are trademarked and therefore protected. And therefore, even if we do get a grizzle from those professional bodies, we do have the protection of that trademark. So, and as a result, we are able to run the course that we're describing this afternoon, more correctly, as a qualification centre for predictive accountants. And thirdly, but by no means least, a systemisation, quality control, improvement headquarters for both virtual CFOs and full-time CFOs for that matter, that wish to specialise in predictive accounting. Right. It's a while since I've had to flick an arrow to advance a slide. So how do you become this certified a predictive accountant? We have a program within the academy, and I'll give it detail and flesh it out as I go, but it's run on a one-on-one basis between Peter, myself, PlanGuru, and our respective companies, each delivered one-on-one. We can do a group delivery at a price and at a quoted price, more correctly. But the whole idea is that it is usually one-on-one, because that is maximizing the effect of the training and qualification passing over to you. It's case study based. And from my point of view anyway, it's typically 3 2-hour Zoom sessions. That's for my content. And we allow you to, or I can record that so that you can use it as refreshers in the future. Peter will provide coaching and contribution as well, as do PlanGuru, but because of the time difference back to the US, typically I do all the PlanGuru training as well as the predictive accounting side of things. It's important to note that each course is based on a case study, so it's not theory only. It's very, very practical case study, which was originally developed from raw data, real data, and information. And we build that case study as we go through those 3 sessions, and each session will include key techniques which are unique to the academy. So you're going to learn, when you register, you're going to learn techniques which are unique to our good selves, and which we will pass on to you as part of the qualification process. Peter, I'll just briefly stop there. Does that give you a good understanding of what we're talking about here today? If not, feel free to butt in.
Yes, I think it does, Paul. What we're attempting to do with all of this, of course, is to equip accountants who have come from a background involved in professional firms that, if we're honest with ourselves, is primarily involved in preparation of an annual set of accounts for a client and an income tax return. Our vision is that what the SME market needs is more services, as if they had a full-time chief financial officer working for them. Most of them won't, of course. They wouldn't have enough work for one, and they probably could not afford it. And we're trying to bridge that by running a series of and producing a series of packages that assist accountants to deliver these services, even if the assistance is only because we've designed the forms for them. They've got templates, they've got guidance, they've got videos, and then, of course, they've got an outstanding product like PlanGuru that you coach people in how to use so that they can get the budget, cash flow, and projected balance sheet data together, so that there's ongoing information available month by month, comparisons back to between actual and budget, to give a real accounting input. Exactly. And Paul, a few months ago, the MYOB CEO, Paul Robson, wrote an article in the Financial Review about fiscal management. And he talked about the problems a lot of SMEs have got with understanding debtors, suppliers' payment terms, payment of GST and other things. And if those people had had proper guidance by their accountants in this planning process, which is what this is all about, I don't think he would have been referring the way he did in his article. But I think he did us all a great service, actually, by writing that article. I've leaned on it quite a few times in the intervening 3 months.
I think you're quite right. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. So just to expand a little bit further on that, Peter, these sessions that I was referring to a minute ago all include advice on client involvement and ownership for the individual participant. So if you've got a client scenario as well as the case study that we do that you want to involve, then of course it will be included. As we go through, there'll be homework to progress in the case study. And if it's a while like you've been to university, it's a bit like going back to university. Every session will allow a question and answer segment, and like a university, there will be examination provided. This will be given to you once the case study's all complete and the theory session's all delivered, but you do it in your own time. There's no time limit on it, but obviously we like to see it done relatively soon after the workshop sessions so that it's all fresh on your memory. And like I said, there's a trademark certificate and badges available, which will be delivered to you upon your exams and your participation being approved.
And Paul, we will issue CPD certificates for the participants to submit to the Institute and the CPA.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay, so that's just a repeat of what I've just been telling you. Your case study prepares that revenue statement, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows, but it also looks at client-specific issues such as dashboards and reports. And the good news is that the way we design it and the way PlanGuru is designed, you can design those dashboards and reports individual to specific clients. You don't have to use a fixed methodology. You can change them around. If he likes bar graphs, give him or her bar graphs. If they like pie charts, give them pie charts. Yeah, okay, so let's move on again further. And I find my little arrows. Okay, so there's a special suite supplied by PlanGuru. I'll talk a bit about the software later. Normally that is licensed for 3 clients within your practice, but as part of their contribution to the JV, PlanGuru allow up to 10 client scenarios. Right, okay, let's have
Paul,
a go.
that's a significant cost saving for a firm that can use that 10 licenses at any one time.
Indeed.
I worked it out, it's about 3,000 Australian dollars a year saving.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep. Here's just a little bit more detail on the training. So those 3 interactive sessions that I talked about, month 1, where we set up client files, import the historic data, and start setting the budget options, including key drivers. You'll hear me talk about key drivers. They are what the information that backs up your budget or forecast. How many widgets are you going to sell? How much are you going to sell them for? When are you going to sell them? Who are you going to sell them to? What terms are you going to sell them on? Those are all drivers. And sadly, too often, accountants prepare budgets that are only dollar-based. And a dollar-based budget that does not have any reference to drivers can sometimes not be worth the paper it's written on.
And Paul, an observation I have on that is those key drivers, say for debtors, really allow the pinpointing of debtors' days outstanding. One of the very important key performance indicators, which in the way other people do budgets, that's just not there. You can't look at it. You got no idea.
Absolutely right. And it's not just debtor days, it's creditor days, and it's inventory days.
Yep.
And it's who and what your wages are. And it's what your capital expenditure program is. Those are all drivers. Okie dokie. Right, 2nd month is finalising budgets. 3rd month is review Q&A. And then my company provides ongoing support, as does, of course, ESS BIZTOOLS and PlanGuru. Okay, So here is just a couple of things. Do you want to speak to these, Peter?
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, well, the ESS BizTools package is called Financial Forecasting. This is our top of the tree package. We have 3 other packages, starting with an advisory intro package, which is for bookkeepers and small accountants who are just starting to think about doing advisory services. So within this package, the setting retail price calculator is, I think, a very important tool which we have. It assists with setting the price that individual team members should be charged at to meet a specific profit target. Obviously, for tradies, it gets back to the number of hours you anticipate they're going to work, and more importantly, what their productivity percentage is going to be. Now, this information can all be incorporated within the PlanGuru system as bringing into the full budgets. But in my experience as an accountant, I found that a lot of tradies really just guessed a charge out rate or listened in the pub to what one of their bigger competitors might have been talking about. You've got no idea what their costs are, what their productivity percentages are, or anything about their business if you just copy someone else's rates. So that's setting the tradie charge out rate. Retail is different, Paul, as you well know. In retail, they've got different types of products. They got a lot of them, sometimes hundreds of them. They got different markups and different volumes. So you end up with categories of star stocks, which are the high turnover, high markups. Everyone would love to have a shop full of them, but that's not the way the world works. Then you got the cash cows. That's high volume but low markups. It's products you've got to have in your store. Problem lines, normally last year's fashions or something that's been superseded in the marketplace, was a good product, was a high markup, but now you will struggle to get anything below a mediocre markup. And then you got the disasters, those things that no one owns up to having ordered. And just one of my comments on that, Paul, is people need to, if they're wanting to, their clients are wanting to get rid of a product, make sure they switch off the automatic computer reorder system.
Yes.
Because I've seen that happen. Because it gets down to a certain volume left in the system, the computer goes ahead and reorders. And it can set off a lot of arguments in a firm. Why did this stock turn up again? It took us 2 years to get rid of the last one. Professional firms calculator, I think our accountants should be using that first up for themselves, and that will give them a lot more use and understanding of this whole process. So that's Absolutely what those tools are about, Paul.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there's some of the things that Peter's just been talking about. The various forms that are available within this ES BizTools. We won't worry too much about the detail. Just cast your eye there, and you can see to the thoroughness that ESS BizTools certainly go to as part of their contribution to the JV for the Certified Predictive Accounting Academy. And there's work papers, newsletters, all part of Peter's service. If you have any specific questions about ESS BizTools content, I'm sure Peter would handle those separately with a phone call or an email.
Oh, yeah, most certainly. Just
as indeed I will for any of the Beyond Accounting technologies. Okay, so that was the registrations. Now, have we got some more slides here, or did I open the wrong slideshow? No, we haven't. No, okay. So I just needed to, I think, grab another couple of slides, Peter, if I may, which were on another slideshow, and I won't be a tick. Right. I just want to show slideshow from current slide. Just a couple of other. I've pretty much defined what is predictive accounting, so I won't worry too much about that, because it just is absolutely a must-have if you're going to be an advisor to your SME clients. You will strike SME clients who will say, oh, I don't want a budget, only the bank want a budget. Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to say to you, make your SME clients have compulsory budgets and cash flows. Because how can they possibly run a business if they don't have a projection of where they're headed? As I think it was you, Peter, reminded me the other day of that saying, if you don't know where you're going, anyway, I'll get you there. And that is so true. So you must enforce that with your SME clients. And I went so far in my own practice as to say, if they insisted, no, we're not going to pay for a budget, well, sorry, you're talking to the wrong accounting firm, because there's no way I can help you unless I'm doing budgets and forecasts. And what made me passionate about it, I just want you to know this very quickly, because I was 16 years managing partner in a second-tier firm, but I had a life-changing moment one day when I just decided that I had tax and compliance up to the eyeballs. And I wanted to share this with you today because I took that leap into virtual CFO services. This is long enough ago that there weren't any Academy of CPAs in those days. I was self-learning. And so I had to teach myself basically how to do it. And so I changed my client billing to fixed, and we went through a menu of services. And like I was just saying, the budget and cash flow forecast was non-negotiable, and it wasn't hourly rates. And when odd clients, as they did, said to me, but Paul, I don't want to have a fixed fee. I just want to buy an hour or two of your time as we go. And I would say to them, and I would act all hurt and insulted and say, excuse me, Joe, I'm not a panel beater. You're not buying an hour of my time. You're buying 30 years of my experience, for goodness sake. And it puts hourly rates into a context that I never had another problem with. And I've charged fixed fees from then on, including the budget and forecast. So in the last 20 years, that's all I've done is predictive accounting, budgeting and forecasting, which of course is included in that whole financial analysis, strategic planning and virtual CFO process. So I just wanted to very briefly go on and show you what I think is my role to help you look like a superstar, because the last comment that I want to share with you is, when you need a budget, what do you do? Well, traditionally, you've reached for Excel, right? Wrong. Would you, if your client said, oh, I've just started in business, what bookkeeping system should I use? Oh, you'll use Excel. Well, Excel is no more a bookkeeping system than it is a budgeting system. So why would you use it? And why would you recommend it to your clients? You must not use spreadsheets for budgeting and forecasting. There is a fellow called Ray Panko. He's a real spreadsheet nerd. He's at the University of Hawaii. Google him. He's got his research papers are all published there. He has found that of published spreadsheets, 91% of them have got errors in them, not that their authors know about, but that authors don't know about. Isn't that a scary thought? So 91% of those Excel files that are out there, they've got errors in them, and it's just quite frightening. There is a choice of applications. It's up to you to choose. We don't insist, other than for the Academy qualification, that you use PlanGuru, because it is our out-and-out best choice, but you've got to use other than Excel. So there is just a sample of an income statement that's been prepared in PlanGuru, and I'm not going to go much longer, Peter. I just wanted to show you a little bit of this detail so that you could get an idea of how it does this month by month, year on year. You can have multiple years of both history and future. That's a revenue statement. There's a balance sheet, which you were talking about before. So many budgets are done just with a revenue statement and no balance sheet. Again, could be a waste of time. All it's doing is giving you the revenue targets.
And then, Paul, that balance sheet then enables the accountant to become the storyteller, doesn't it? Because you can sit down and say to your client, well, if you do these things and we control these activities, in 3 years' time, this is what your business is going to look like. And I think that's a great process that accountants can deliver, because that's what happens. You know, you and I have both had experience in the commercial world in larger companies. And then that's what most definitely your external directors in a public company, which is what I was involved in. What they're looking for? They want to know what the big picture is going to look like.
Absolutely.
Every second board meeting, they wanted to know, where's all this going to lead? This has enabled the accountants who are servicing SMEs, a lot of which these days are very aspirational. They're wanting to grow. They're watching what's happening on the stock exchange. They're seeing some Australian companies go very well that were SMEs only 3, 4, 5 years ago. And they want to do the same thing. Some of them are billionaires these days. And they need assistance. They need teams around them. They can.
You're absolutely right. Yep. So you can see I've got a cash flow forecast here. It's divided it up into the 3 traditional methodologies: operating, investment, and financing. And you can see there, for example, that we've got a negative 20,000 on investment because we bought some fixtures and fittings. But you can also see a balance sheet. Whoops, I've gone too far. You can see in the balance sheet where the cash finished up, and at the bottom of the cash flow report, you can see the same thing. Okay, I mentioned dashboards, charts, and what have you. There's just an example of how you can do that for your clients. And like I said before, if they like pie charts, give him or her or both pie charts. If they like lines, give them lines. If they like bars, give them bars, and so on. And you can vary between that, and you can even write your own report completely from scratch if your client really insists on it. Okay, I'll probably stop it there, Peter, in case you've got some questions, but I just wanted to wrap up what PlanGuru is all about. It is an integrated tool for those fully inclusive predictive financial statements. So revenue statement, balance sheet, cash flows, associated reports, budget actual comparisons that you were mentioning before, Peter, budget forecast difference, because a lot of accountants don't do forecast, they do budgets, and the two are 2 different things. A budget is the best estimate at the beginning of the year. The forecast is the revised budget as you go through the year. And that key driver backing that I mentioned before can be done on a line-by-line basis. It's always a toss-up as to what amount of detail you have in your budgets, because obviously the more detail you have, the more time it takes, but the better results you can often get. And as I just mentioned, you can have budget, actual, and rolling forecast. So I'm probably going to stop it there, Peter. I've waxed on for 25 minutes. And if you've got any questions that we need to ask or you think should be asked, and if there are any questions out there with the live participants, by all means. Back to you, Peter.
Thanks, Paul. Well, the certified predictive accounting process is very important as part of this evolution of accountants who are committed to providing a wider range of advisory services, and not just providing, but actually delivering. I think there's a key difference. Unfortunately, some accounting firms list on their website a whole range of services. It's not just the listing of the services that's important. It's communicating to your SME clients that you are able to deliver those services. the arrangement that ESS BizTools has developed with people like you, Paul, and PlanGuru, but others, Andrew Geddes, Mark Holton, Amanda Gascoigne, and other people around Australia, enables us to supply an expert to you as an accountant or a bookkeeper if you are feeling a bit unfamiliar, you're a bit unsure. It might be some years since you went to university, or you're younger and you've got to convert what you learned at university, what you learned in the PY process, to now dealing with people in their real business environment. And in the real business environment, let me tell you, because I was company secretary and CFO of a listed public company, the annual accounts are something that you give a fair bit of consideration to over about a week at the end of the financial year when you're finished with the auditors. And primarily, in my case, I used to sit and work with one of our external directors who used to love putting the annual report together. But the rest of the year, it was making sure you had information at your fingertips to answer the questions from the CEO, which come in a barrage most days. What would be the result if we did this? What will be our cash flow position if we held stock in America for an extra 6 weeks? We were a major meat exporter. We were Australia's second largest meat exporter. And it's those sort of practical questions that your SME clients have got. I will not ever agree that it's only the managing directors of CEOs who want to have a chief financial officer available. Sometimes I reckon I spent 10 hours a day answering the CEO's questions or sitting with him and working through spreadsheets and plans and making phone calls and talking to our livestock director as what price they could pay for cattle. Your SME clients have got these same sort of problems. And whether they're in the meat industry, retail industry, tradies industry, they've all got questions. At this stage, a lot of them don't ask you as accountants because they think you are an expert in tax, but that's all that you're interested in talking to them about. You have got to communicate to them that you can offer these services. And a very practical way is what Paul's just shown you. Do some practical budget forecast, cash flow forecast, projected balance sheet using PlanGuru, and go and sit down with your client and show them what their business could look like in the future. This is the modern accountancy evolution. I've been around for a long time now, from when FMRC, Financial Management Research Centre, started at the University of New England 45 years ago. They had a vision of having accounting services being delivered to SMEs. I don't think that journey's finished yet, Paul. I think we're still on it. And people like Andrew Geddes, who was one of the co-founders, agrees with what I just said. We haven't finished the journey. The journey, the vision that Jeff Meredith, who was the founder of Financial Management Research Centre, had was that accountants would continue to do tax returns. There's no doubt about that. But resources would be available for SMEs to hire, to offer services. And at that stage, I don't know if Meredith envisaged computers the way we got them today, Paul. That'd be interesting to even, I hear he's still alive in Lismore. It'd be interesting to ask him what he really envisaged was going to happen. He might have had that vision, but I think we've still got a fair way to go on delivering of those services.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm pleased to tell you that although I'm a tad more wrinkly than you are, Andrew Geddes was one of my early mentors.
Yeah.
And the then Society of Accountants in New Zealand brought him to New Zealand for a lecture tour. And then my eyes were just opened and my ears. And I've been a listener and a watcher ever since. Yep. So, yes, the journey's not over, that's for sure.
Okay, so thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, people who are viewing and who will be watching this as a recording. If you, and I hope you do have some questions of that you want more information, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I will get back to you. Paul, do you want to give your email address if people want to contact you?
Yes, Paul, it's a bit long, but paul@beyondaccountingtechnologies.com.
That's paul@beyondaccountingtechnologies.com.
That's it.
And you're most welcome to visit our website where you can view the packages that ESS BizTools have available. There's 4 major packages. So our website address is www.essbiztools.com.au. You got anything else, Paul?
No, just likewise, if you want to see a little bit more about what Beyond Accounting Technologies do, have a look at beyondaccountingtechnologies.com as well, and you'll see references there to the work that we do, particularly in this whole predictive accounting concept. So there's the challenge for you guys that are watching today. Take that leap, take those services to your clients, and you'll both be rewarded.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Paul, for being with us today, and we'll talk to you next time we have one of these webinars. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Peter.
Goodbye.